everyone. This is Henny Espinosa with Justice Foundation. Today, we are joined by Estefania Rebellion, who has become a champion for migrant children living in limbo in shelters at the US-Mexico border by, of course, providing them education. Thanks for joining us on Justice Foundation, Estefania.
Hi, Henny. Thank you so much for hosting us. We're really excited to share our cause with everyone that supports your wonderful foundation and hopefully double our impact.
Of course, we're excited as well. So tell us a little bit about your background and why you can truly understand the fear and uncertainty felt by millions of migrants, particularly the displaced children.
Of course. So I am originally from Cali, Colombia in South America. And unfortunately, my family had to go through a similar experience to the millions of immigrants at the border. My family was unfortunately targeted and it became a security issue for us, a life or death situation. So within a matter of 2 weeks, my parents had to leave and flee the country. I was about 10 years old at that time. So I was just a child. I didn't understand what was going on, being one day in school and the next being in a whole nother country. So I think that closeness and firsthand experience has prepared me to lead the work that we do at Yes We Can World Foundation, especially because there are a lot of nuances that are hard to explain on paper, but once you've lived the experience, you're able to connect with the kids that you're working with and also the parents and understand how critical it is that at this moment where they need the most support, that somebody's there to give that support.
Yeah. So, I mean, you were 10 years old, but do you remember what that was like, fleeing Colombia and then finally settling? Was it Miami first where you guys settled? And kind of tell us how teachers played a role in your adjustment.
Yeah, so as a kid, I think school becomes your second home, just because it's what you do as a child. It's your safe space away from home is where you start forming relationships with your friends and with your teachers. And when that was taken away from me in Colombia, it was a big traumatic experience for me. So when I got to Miami, I was very afraid of what this school experience was going to be like, especially because I was coming from a Catholic all-girls school. And it was very strange to come into a classroom where there are kids from all over the world and there is boy interaction, and I was 10, so it's about that age. So I do think that when I came to Miami, I was very, very, very lucky because Miami has a very large Latino population. So a lot of the teachers have experienced something similar and have that understanding because they were also migrants or their parents were migrants and they're first generation Americans. So there is that understanding and community already there. And I think that because my teachers had experienced similar things, they were able to comfort me and the other kids that were coming to the country for the first time and support us through the learning process, learning English as a second language, adapting to a new culture, to a new country, and eventually becoming part of the community. I was also lucky enough to work with different sports coaches. I was very athletic while in high school. So I played volleyball, basketball. I was also a cheerleader. I participated in many of the clubs, and I just really made it a point to find that community within my school system because it was truly the support that I needed at that time. So I was one of the lucky ones, but there are thousands, if not millions, of children that end up in states that are not that don't have the support system that I had. States that are Latinos aren't the majority, or even there's even that much of a community. So I do think that programs like ours are so essential, especially in places like that where there are no resources.
Yeah. So that because you found kind of that sense of belonging.
Yes.
Then you thrived, right? But like you said, that's not always the case for a lot of children. Tell us when you moved to Los Angeles. You moved to Los Angeles to pursue acting, but there was a point there that you actually did some volunteer work, right? In Tijuana. So tell us about that and why that was an eye-opening experience for you.
Yeah, so my journey to life now has been, as you mentioned, I moved to Los Angeles to pursue acting, to pursue a Hollywood career. I was already working in Spanish television in Miami. That's where I started my career, and I moved to LA to do the same. And it started off going great. I did commercials. I was working for a TV station here in Los Angeles, hosting and doing red carpets and things like that. And in about 2018, that fall, there started being international news about migrant caravans.
Mhm.
I didn't have any closeness to the topic other than seeing the news on online. And I had already been coming from an activism background, such as I participated in the Women's March. I helped to host a march here for the Me Too movement when that was going on. I also went to North Dakota with the No DAPL movement against the pipelines that were there. So I was already coming from a place where I understood that my actions and my voice could make a difference, being having participated in this campaigns. So when this happened at the border, I went down with a couple of friends just to volunteer. We just said, let's just take whatever clothing, whatever things we can find. We went with a group, and it was shocking. It was the closest thing that I could mention are the refugee camps in Syria. That is something that I had been following because of the migration in that part of the world, and I always wanted to go help, but it was a very dangerous scenario. So when this happened to be just 2.5 hours away from my home, I said, okay, this is the opportunity to go. So yeah, we went down there just to volunteer, and it was a truly shocking experience. Entering a camp and feeling the need of people looking all around you, and people just needing the most basic things, such as some food, some new shoes because theirs were worn out. The kids weren't really being taken care of. It wasn't an environment for children. We're talking about a camp that was housed inside of an abandoned stadium. So it just wasn't a place where anyone can be safe. So once we went down there, just on a weekend with a couple of friends, I came back, and I just couldn't unsee what I had seen. It's one of those experiences that once you're exposed to it, you have two choices. You can either take action, and whatever action means to you. For me, it meant forming a nonprofit. For someone else, can mean supporting from afar, or sharing this with your family and friends, or not doing anything. So
and that was not an option for you.
No, it was not an option, especially knowing that my family was directed, supported by other nonprofits when we got here.
So describe for us a little bit about these families, these children. Where are they coming from, and why are they seeking asylum in the United States?
Yes, so the majority of the families that we work with are from Central America and Mexico. There has been a shift throughout the almost 5 years of operations that we've been at, where we have seen families from South America as well. We've also worked with families from Haiti. During the Russian and Ukraine, the start of the war, we also received a lot of Ukrainian refugees at the border, but it's mainly Central American and Mexican migrants that we work with. A lot of these families are leaving because their homes are no longer safe, and safety is being able to go outside your door and being calm. And when that basic right is not there, anyone would make a decision to either stay and endure it, or leave and seek a better opportunity for their families. So a lot of the families that we work with are families fleeing because their towns have been taken over by the mafia, by narcos, or they have been uprooted because somebody wants to take over their land. A lot of people are also forced to pay a tax to the narcos that is completely illegal. So for example, if you're working at whatever job, you have to give them a cut of your check just because you live in that place. So it becomes a very unfair scenario. And there's also families that have experienced things like death in their families or being kidnapped or being assaulted in some way. So those are the most extreme cases that we see. And then
Yeah.
there's, of course, now that we're starting to see a lot of climate change migration as well, where
Mhm.
their land is no longer providing what they need.
Yeah.
So, as a human being, when your home is not providing you safety or even a resource to survive in, you're going to make a decision. And for these families, the decision is to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a matter of life and death,
Yes.
and they're trying to come here really not just for a better life, but really for survival. So, tell us how you took action, Estefania. Like, you said that you have two choices: either you don't take action, or you take action. In your case, you did take action, and in such a big way. So, tell us about that, and tell us how you started Yes We Can World Foundation.
Yeah, so Yes We Can World Foundation really started with that volunteer trip, being exposed to it. I knew that schools and education had been a pillar in my life, and I felt that it wasn't a focus inside of a refugee camp because people are more worried about food and shelter and other necessities. But I feel that for a child, the school is just as important as where you're going to sleep that night,
Mhm.
because it's just what a child needs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very I don't know how to explain it other than just an immediate response that was fueled by the emergent need of it. It wasn't something that we can wait and have a whole plan and present it and all of that. It was literally just a matter of telling my partner Kyle, I really want to do this. I want to go back next weekend. Let's just go buy the supplies that we need at Walmart, put it up. I'll post
Mhm.
on social media that I'm looking for teachers.
Mhm.
It just kind of all happened really fast. And at the beginning, we weren't planning to build a nonprofit. We just wanted to help the
Mhm.
people that needed the help, and very quickly it became successful. The
Yeah.
pilot run that we ran became successful, and then we started taking all the other steps to become a formal nonprofit. And here we are, almost 5 years. July of this year will be our fifth
Wow.
year anniversary. Yeah.
Wow, wow. So it was transformed as well. This you
Yes.
got volunteers. It was transformed in a way that when these families and children were transferred from the camps to the shelters, you had this idea to turn this into a mobile education program, right? So tell us about that.
Yeah, so exactly as you mentioned, so the camp that started this all got shut down, and all the families were distributed to smaller shelters. So at that point, I had met the manager of the camp, who became our managing director for
Oh,
Mexico.
wow.
I told them, I really like, just because they got moved doesn't mean that the problem ended. I want to know where
Yeah.
these families are going. How are we going to follow up? How are we actually going to help them through this situation? So we started working together. We were able to select and find some of the shelters that work with the largest amounts of family and children. And yeah, we just started, and we decided to do the mobile classrooms because we knew that we needed a strong structure while we ran our pilot. It was during the rainy season in
Mm.
Tijuana,
Oh, wow.
and some of our tents got destroyed. So I was very heartbroken by that. And I was like, okay, if we do a container, we thought about doing containers, but then we thought there was so much need that we're going to have to go from place to place, and a container really anchors you down to a location.
Mm.
So the bus idea really became a form for us to be able to literally take our classroom to different
Yeah.
places where it was needed.
Yeah.
And I had seen examples of buses being converted into homes because of the tiny home movement
Yeah.
and van life that was very popular on social media.
Yeah.
And I had been following the trend, and I was like, okay, perfect. Like, if people are turning buses into homes, why can't we
Yeah.
turn them into mobile classrooms? And that's what we
Wow.
did.
Wow.
So we just hit the ground running. Again, no idea how to do this. Just being a child of the internet, going on Google and YouTube and searching up how to do these things. And yeah, just being very, very blessed along the way to meet the right people to help us.
And you guys provide bilingual education, right? Which is really
Yes.
so important.
Yeah, I mean, for us, what we're really, when it comes down to it, what we're really doing is that we're stepping into this kids' lives at the moment that they need the tools to survive
Mm.
this transition
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I didn't have that. For me, I was taken from my home, placed in another country, and forced to adapt. So what
Mm.
we're doing is that we're coming in that in between period where the children have left their home, but they're not in the new place because they're waiting for their legal asylum process to take place. So we're right in that in between, bridging that experience so it's not as traumatic as it can be, and also so it provides them the tools that they need.
Mm.
So for all of the children, if not maybe 1% of the kids that we work with, we are the first introduction to the English language for them. So we take that on really
Yeah,
seriously.
yeah.
And we also teach them practical things. We know that in the three months or 5 months or 7 months that they're going to be with us, we don't expect them to speak English, but we
Mm.
do teach them what they're going to need. For example, how to introduce themselves. How to say my name is blah
Mm.
blah blah. I'm from this country. Here are three cool facts about the place that I'm coming from. This is what I like to do. How can I go to the bathroom? Those lines and things that they're going to need when they're placed in a public school system.
Yeah,
So they're coming in with those tools and they don't have to go through that outsider experience,
yeah, yeah,
or at least for it to be less,
yeah,
less
yeah,
harmful.
yeah.
So yeah, we take that on really seriously, and we have seen many successful stories in which our kids are, we have some kids graduating high school now here in the
Wow.
United States. We
Wow.
have kids that are going to be going to their first college experience very soon.
Oh, wow.
And we have kids that, when they're entering classrooms here, they're able to be like, oh, yes, I remember that because I learned it at Yes We
Yeah,
Can.
yeah.
Or like, also another really important role that we take is we have a class called the Migrant Process,
Mm.
and it's a class that we're really proud of because this class is meant to empower them and
Mm.
to teach them that migration is not something that they have to be ashamed of, that it's
Mm.
actually can be a really powerful tool
Mm.
because it's a shared life experience. And also being bilingual is a superpower, being able to
Yeah.
speak two languages and just switch that narrative that exists out there that you're from somewhere else and you're an outsider,
Yeah.
and that doesn't need to happen that way.
Yeah.
So we try to empower a lot of our students so they can have a new narrative when they're meeting other kids and
Yeah.
start changing that.
And you guys have become also their first friends in the
Yeah.
country. And they also, that's where they can meet, friends their age. And has the families, the parents have also um taken this opportunity to get support from you guys, or have you directed them to, of course, obviously, because parents are going through
Mhm.
also the most traumatizing, toughest, most challenging times trying to get their papers and trying to get the family situated. What about the support for them?
Yeah, so for us, the child has been the main focus of our programs. We have had some instances where the parents are able to work with us and work with the kids. It has not been a full-on program. I would like for us to get to that point because I know how much support they need. But it's not something we currently have. But
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
love to because, as you mentioned, it's such a family experience that unfortunately
Mhm.
doesn't get shared as that.
Yeah,
A lot of times parents think that the best thing to do is to not tell their kids what's going on because that's protecting them.
yeah.
But it's actually does the opposite. So we do work with parents during our migration class because we have exercises where kids have to go back to the shelter and ask their parents specific questions, like where are we going, what
Yeah.
happened, why did we leave, and we try to guide that conversation because from my lived experience, I didn't have anyone to help me have that conversation
Yeah.
with my parents.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work to still do, and
To
I would
still
love
do,
to get to
yeah.
that point. Yeah.
Yeah. So to date, Estefania, can you give us an idea of how many children have been helped? The scope that your organization has had, the impact it has had in the community.
Yeah, so as we're about to do our numbers for this year, but as of July of 2023, we have helped over 3,100 kids
Wow.
that have been enrolled into our programs. And we will have an updated number. I mean, we're for sure over 4,000, but I wouldn't want to mention yet without running our numbers. But yeah, I mean, these are large numbers, and what I'm really proud of is that when we say 3,100 kids, we mean actually 3,100, names and faces and real numbers, real people that we can literally look up in our databases and see that, there's a whole story right there.
Yeah.
It's not just a number of impact just to say, oh my gosh, we're doing so much work.
Yeah.
No, it's actually people and kids that have been through our programs that we can recognize and know that we were there when they needed help.
Yeah. Yeah. Through the years, you've also been recognized, most recently and notably the CNN Heroes recognition. How did that feel that you were honored in that moment, Estefania, and like have helped spread your story? Because that's how we found out about you guys. And we were inspired, and I'm sure the more people hear about your story, the more inspired they'll be to also make a difference in their community or support you guys. How do you feel that have been given that platform now to talk more about what you guys do?
Well, I think the CNN Heroes experience has been an incredible opportunity to share and raise awareness for what we're doing, because it's just a huge platform. And what I love about the CNN Heroes family is that the people that support this program, watching at home, are people who are interested in making a difference,
Yeah.
or who are getting that first introduction to incredible causes. So it's one of the best programs that we've ever participated in. Their whole team is incredible, and for us, I think it's just an amazing validation that we're on the right track.
Yeah.
And that we are making a huge difference, and that we are being, in a way, being, how do I say this, like put as an example to follow, which I think it's incredible, because we've gotten letters from kids and college students telling us, like, I saw you on CNN Heroes and you're so inspiring, and I want to do something, or like, how do I build a mobile classroom? And I'm like, being in philanthropy and being in community, you realize that you can't do it alone. So the fact that we're able to be on this platform and connect all those dots of people who want to do something but don't know how to do it is the way that we actually create change, because not one person can do everything.
You're right.
So
you're right.
it's just been awesome.
Yeah, I think like-minded people and organizations, people with the same goal of making a difference in the community. I think the best way for us to really make an impact is to really know about each other, and get support where support is needed, and just it's the movement of good, I think, is so contagious if done properly, if spoken about with, you talk to genuine people who really want to make change, and I think it just fuels the drive more for people to do more and create more of an impact.
And I love the CNN Heroes program in general, and the class that I got to participate in, because every single person that was recognized is working on a different cause, has a different background, and we're all contributing to the bigger picture. So the fact that now we're connected, and you guys are in the Bay Area, and we're down here in Los Angeles, it's a lot more ground that can be covered. And I'm just really excited to just connect further, and to I think that's the greatest part about this program, just having that connecting part of it.
When you look back, Estefania, to that 10-year-old that was scared, that was confused, that was that felt displaced, and then when you look back into your life now and know that you have turned that experience in your life, and that also that eye-opening moment in Tijuana, when you were an adult, to how you've turned your life around, so that other kids would not experience that, or other kids would feel more belonged, or would feel more support, and could thrive. When you look back in your life and how your life has changed and how you've changed the lives of so many kids, how do you feel? What kind of sense of fulfillment do you feel? That must feel so good.
Oh my gosh, that's a very big question. I think that through this process, it has not only been a healing process for the families that we've been working with, but also for myself and my family, because it has brought us closer together and been able to facilitate those hard conversations that till this day we haven't completely had. And I think that that's the journey of every migrant family that gets to this country. Anyone going through an immigration process has a lot of uncovered truths and questions that don't get covered when when you come here until you ask. And I think it's been a process to understand. You hear people say everything happens for a reason, and the experience that my family went through, it was extremely painful. It completely changed our lives, uprooted our lives, changed the dynamic of ours and our extended family. And I think that just now through this process and this program, I've been able to realize that I had to go through those things and I had to live that because I was meant to be doing this. And meant to be guiding the work that we're doing, and with the meticulous attention that we pay to every single detail, because I went through it. And I think that a lot of founders find themselves in this process as well of healing with the work that you're doing. And I think that that's just sharing with anyone, that's my hope, that anyone can see that some point down the line, whatever has happened to you is going to make sense, and it's going to be for the purpose of helping others. And it's a journey. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey.
And the journey continues. The journey continues. There's more stories to tell and more lives to be changed. And for us at Just Wish Foundation, Estefania, we're just so honored that we got this opportunity to talk to you and hear your story. And we want to help support you ourselves with a donation. I know that that you have so many plans for Yes You Can, and yes you can, with the community support, and you have our support, and we just wish you all the best and more power to your organization. And these kids are so lucky to have you.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for all your kind words and for taking action as well, watching the CNN Heroes package and actually contacting us and getting to this point. And just thank you so much to the Just Wish Foundation, because I truly believe in magic, and you guys are granting wishes and changing lives as well through the work that you're doing, and now extending it to the kids at the border, which is an incredible thing. So thank you so much for considering us and for supporting.
Thank you so much, Estefania. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.